In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, Party General Secretary and State President directs the settlement of aftermath of Typhoon YAGI. And Prime Minister inspects search and rescue work in New Village. In our world news, Typhoon YAGI causes flooding and landslides in GUANGXI, China.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huyen Trân with the top stories. According to reports from localities, by September 12th, the number of reported deaths and missing persons has reached 330, with 226 confirmed dead and 104 still missing. Lào Cai remains the hardest hit province with 98 people dead and 81 missing. Other heavily affected areas include Cao Bằng with 43 dead and 9 missing, Yên Bái with 42 dead and 2 missing, and Quảng Ninh with 15 dead. Other provinces also reported casualties and missing persons due to the impact of Typhoon YAGI, including Hải Phòng, Hải Dương, Hà Nội, Hòa Bình, Lạng Sơn, Bắc Giang, Tuyên Quang, Hà Giang, Lai Châu, Vĩnh Phúc, Phú Thọ, Sơn La, and Thái Nguyên. Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm conducted an inspection on Wednesday on the efforts to prevent and mitigate the impacts of storms and floods in Tuyên Quang and Phú Thọ provinces. Accompanying him was Comrade Đỗ Văn Chiến, Politburo member, Secretary of the Party Central Committee, and President of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee.
Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm visited Trường Sinh Commune in Tuyên Quang Province to encourage the teams addressing seepage and reinforcing the weakened dike. Although the water level of the low river has been receding, hundreds of military, police, and local personnel maintain hard at work to ensure the area's safety. 2 days ago, a 10-meter section of the dike in Quyết Thắng Commune collapsed, but thanks to the early detection of leaks, the residents were evacuated in time, preventing any casualties. During his visit to Phú Thọ One Village cultural house in Trường Sinh Commune, where evacuees are being sheltered, the leader expressed deep sympathy for those affected by storms and floods. He encouraged the people to continue supporting one another through these difficult times, assuring them that the party and state are doing everything possible to restore normalcy as soon as possible. Party General Secretary and State President Tô Lâm urged provincial leaders and emergency forces to implement comprehensive and decisive measures from prevention to rescue and relief.
The entire political system is focused on achieving 5 key goals, with the top priority being to save lives and reduce human losses. Additionally, the government and Prime Minister have directed leaders to closely monitor affected areas and ensure strong coordination across sectors and regions. While local authorities have been empowered to act independently, it is crucial that efforts remain harmonized and well coordinated at all levels.
On the same day, Party General Secretary and President Tô Lâm met with leaders of Phú Thọ Province. The province swiftly relocated over 7,000 households and cleared more than 26,000 cubic meters of landslides from key transportation routes.
The Phong Chau Bridge is a critical transportation link not only for Phú Thọ, but also for neighboring provinces. I discussed the issue with the Prime Minister, emphasizing the urgency of replacing the bridge. The government budget will cover this project, and Deputy Prime Minister Ho Duc-Phoc has already visited the site to survey the design and work with local authorities. We are committed to ensuring that this project is implemented and completed as quickly as possible.
During the visit, the party General Secretary and President witnessed the chairman of Central Committee of Vietnam Fatherland Fran presenting funds to support the recovery efforts in Tuyên Quang and Phu Thọ provinces.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and the government delegation were present at New Village, Phúc Khánh Commune, Bảo Yên District, Lào Cai Province on Thursday afternoon to direct the search and rescue work. The village has suffered a landslide disaster caused by flash floods, leaving 95 people dead and missing.
Prime Minister extended the deepest condolences from the party and state leaders to the families of those affected and to the people of New Village, Lào Cai Province. He shared in the immense losses and damages suffered by the people due to the impact of Typhoon YAGI's aftermath. The Prime Minister personally visited the area where hundreds of officials, soldiers, and other forces were working hard to search for missing persons. He emphasized 7 key tasks that need to be prioritized at this critical time.
First, locating the 51 missing persons must be a top priority. Second, immediate medical care must be provided for those who are injured or ill. Third, the environment needs to be cleaned up to prevent the outbreak of disease. Fourth, efforts should be made to restore transportation infrastructure. Fifth, educational facilities affected by the disaster must be rebuilt to ensure students can return to school as soon as possible. Sixth, economic activities should be revived to create job opportunities and develop livelihoods for the affected people. Finally, site surveys and planning must be conducted to identify safe locations, with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment and relevant agencies assessing the landslide situation and restoring the affected areas by December 31st at the latest.
The Prime Minister also expressed gratitude to the local people for their strict adherence, directives, and support in relocation and mutual aid. He urged the entire political system in the province, along with the Fatherland Front and various organizations, continuously motivate, support, and address any remaining difficulties faced by the people to ensure their well-being.
Rising flood levels in the Red River and Tai Binh River systems have reached a level 3 warning, which threatens the safety of the dike system. The Prime Minister has therefore directed relevant ministries and agencies to adjust the power generation capacity of the Hòa Bình hydropower plant. This move prioritizes reducing flood discharge to the Red River system in order to prevent the risk of dike erosion and protect agricultural production, especially the summer-autumn rice crop. The current water flow has been reduced to 1,400 cubic meters per second. Now, right after ending his official visit to Russia, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn on Thursday led a delegation to northern province of Thái Nguyên. The purpose of his visit was to inspect the situation and direct activities to overcome consequences of Typhoon YAGI and the subsequent floods.
During a visit to the residents of Nga My Commune, Phú Bình District, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn hailed the activeness and timely engagement of Thái Nguyên authorities and the whole political system in responding to the storm and implementing the solutions to deal with its aftermath. The top legislator emphasized that it is important to stabilize the lives of the residents with mutual support, solidarity, and assistance. It is crucial to ensure the provision of sufficient electricity and clean water for daily use, and no one should go hungry.
The party, state, and organizations at all levels always pay close attention to the lives of the people, especially those in difficult circumstances. It is essential to promptly stabilize their living conditions. Once the waters recede, schools must reopen. Education is crucial for individuals to mature and become good citizens of the country in the future.
National Assembly Chairman urged Thái Nguyên Province to focus on the transportation system including roads and bridges, and to reduce traffic over weak bridges. He advised that environmental sanitation be carried out and that disease prevention measures be implemented after the waters recede. It is essential to address the flooding at school sites and ensure that 100% of children at all education levels return to school. The top legislator presented 200 gift packages to households affected by the storm in Phú Bình district. He also donated $1,220 from the Central Relief Board of Vietnam Fatherland Fran Central Committee to Thái Nguyên province to help the province overcome the consequences of Typhoon YAGI and subsequent floods.
Intense efforts are underway to search for the missing persons of the severe flash flood and landslide in New Village, Phúc Khánh Commune, Bảo Yên District, Lào Cai Province. To expedite the search for victims, several new methods have been implemented since the morning of September 12, yielding significant results. Instead of focusing on the location of the 37 houses as they did the previous day, rescue teams were deployed to search at the end of the water flow, about 3 kilometers away from New Village. After only about 3 hours of searching, the bodies of many victims were discovered buried deep beneath the mud. In addition to skilled personnel and modern machinery, the Border Guard Command's Kenai unit was also brought to the scene to assist in the search efforts. Now, in the most critical moments of natural disasters, people have remained confident in the protection and assistance from military and police officers. Over the past few days, the police force has swiftly mobilized maximum personnel and equipment from various units and localities to respond to and mitigate the effects of floods and landslides, helping the people quickly stabilize production, ensuring that no one goes hungry or cold.
300 police officers from Lào Cai province along with other forces has marched through the landslide-prone mountain roads to quickly reach the disaster sites. The search for missing victims continues with the principle of starting early, finishing late, relying on the community and ensuring the safety of officers. In the flooded areas, officer and soldier has been working day and night, going deep into every alley to help transport belongings and evacuate residents to safe places. For days, they have braved the rain and flood water to reach the people and deliver food supplies.
We are ensuring timely delivery of flood and storm prevention equipment, strengthening supplies for localities.
For these officers, helping people is not only a duty but also an expression of solidarity and responsibility. Through hardships, there is an even greater appreciation for the dedications and hard work of the forces, including the People Police Force.
Coming up next on VTV News. Village overwhelmed by mourning and funerals. And aid pours in to support flood victims. The flood that swept through our New Village has buried the entire village under a thick layer of mud. There could be villagers trapped beneath these debris anywhere within the area. Many residents remain in shock, having lost all their family members overnight. The village, which had been peaceful for generations, is now engulfed in grief and mourning. Hundreds of soldiers continue their search for the mission across a 6-kilometer area. And as of Thursday, 7 additional bodies have been recovered from the flood debris, raising the death toll from this tragic landslide to 43.
Under this massive pile of mud once lay 37 households, housing more than 100 people. In just 2 minutes, the flash flood and landslide reduced the entire village to rubble, burying over 100 unfortunate victims before they could even awake. Only a few dozen residents of New Village were fortunate enough to escape.
I heard a sound like an explosion, followed by a violent shaking, and then saw a massive white mass. rushing downward. It was as if a 100-meter-high wall has descended, obscuring everything. My niece, my mother, and my aunt's 2 younger siblings were all gone.
Many relatives of the victims waited day and night, anxiously hoping for the news. The rescue team overturned every tree root and even dived into the muddy flood waters to recover the victims. Among those affected, Nguyen's family of 7 suffered the loss of 5 members to the flash flood and landslide. Only Nguyen and her niece survived. My grandmother and brother have not been found, and the sister-in-law remains missing. 2 of the grandchildren are lost, while the 5-year-old granddaughter is currently receiving treatment in the hospital. The search and rescue efforts were intensified, as dozens of coffins were brought in one after another. Lào Cai has never before faced such a tragic situation.
We have experienced several significant floods in our history, including those in 1971, 2008, 2013, and 2016. Over the past 100 years, this is the first time our province has recorded a total of over 50 deaths and 60 people missing from such disasters.
Authorities have deployed additional forces and vehicles to the scene, determined to find and rescue over 60 missing victims as quickly as possible.
Floods and landslides have wiped out everything for many people in an instant, leaving them in urgent need of food and shelter. Yet securing a safe and stable place to live remains a daunting challenge. The following report tells us more about the situation in Cao Bang province.
This is a temporary shelter for 9 people in the landslide area. Although it's called a shelter, it's only providing minimal protection from the sun and rain. After the severe landslide, they had little time to salvage anything. Despite their many difficulties, they consider themselves fortunate compared to others in the village who tragically lost their lives.
The situation here is not ideal, as there is a significant crack visible up there. If it rains for another week, there will still be a risk of landslides.
These shelters are situated on the edges of rocky mountains and hills. While we consider them temporarily safe, cannot guarantee that they are entirely secure.
As their living conditions are closely tied to their work, people are hopeful for a stable place to live soon.
Without land to cultivate crops, survival in a new location would be extremely difficult.
The area is mainly high mountainous terrain, which presents significant challenges for stabilizing residents in the future due to its impact on their livelihoods.
In Cao Bang province, approximately 300 households were evacuated from the landslide area and are now temporarily living in tents like these.
On September 12, UNICEF announced that it had provided water supplies to government partners for distribution to households, hospitals, health facilities, and schools in localities which are among those most affected by Super Typhoon YAGI. Now, within 1 week, UNICEF will deliver water purification tablets, water tanks, ceramic filters, hand sanitizers, and soap to government partners to be distributed to households, schools, and healthcare facilities in Yên Bái and Lào Cai provinces. UNICEF is mobilizing resources to ensure emergency aid is urgently provided. An initial $11 million is urgently required to be able to deliver on its mandate to assist the most vulnerable children. Up to now, various ministries, agencies, localities, and businesses have continued their support by donating to aid those affected by the recent storms and floods. This afternoon, the Vietnam Fatherland Front in Ho Chi Minh City kicked off a campaign to support victims of Typhoon YAGI, with General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party and President of Laos Thongloun Sisoulith and Ho Chi Minh City Party Committee Secretary Nguyễn Văn Nên in attendance. Quảng Nam Province has allocated 21 billion Vietnam dong from its budget to support impacted areas. The Vietnam television staff has also contributed to relief efforts, with nearly 3 billion Vietnam dong being collected for the fund. Vingroup and its affiliated companies have pledged 250 billion Vietnam dong to support those suffering from YAGI and ongoing floods. The Vietnam Post and Telecommunications Group has also organized a donation of 50 billion Vietnam dong. Now, in addition to prioritizing the stabilization of people's lives, Quảng Ninh province is also working tirelessly day and night to find ways to quickly restore production and business activities. This is a key task to help the locality regain the growth momentum that had been achieved prior to the arrival of Typhoon YAGI.
Hatu is the last of the 17 units in the coal industry to have its power restored on September 12. This achievement is thanks to the efforts of thousands of electricians.
100% of the coal industry's power loads, 100% of the power loads for hospitals and medical centers, and 100% of the industrial zones in the province, including FDI enterprises, have had their power restored.
No trace remains of the damage, amounting to tens of millions of US dollars in factories, machinery, and materials. This recovery was made possible by the mobilization of manpower to work in shifts day and night without rest, right after the storm subsided.
Thanks to the government's attention and swift restoration of electricity, water, and transportation, we are now organizing overtime shifts to meet the order deadline.
There was no time for refurbishings, and generators were used in place of the power grid. As soon as room was saved, local hotel welcomed guests immediately to maintain credibility with travel agencies.
We will strive to overcome the severe damage caused by the storm to maintain this year's growth momentum. Although we may not meet our initial expectations, we aim to sustain double-digit growth.
The recovery from the storm aftermath in Quảng Ninh may take several more weeks, but it is the resilience, self-reliance, and determination to seize every hour and minute that will help the province regain its footing in production and business.
Coming up next in our world news. Typhoon YAGI causes flooding and landslides in GUANGXI, China. And the U.S. warns of flooding from Hurricane Francine landfall. Now moving on to our world news. Heavy rains from Typhoon YAGI have led to severe flooding and landslides in GUANGXI province, China. River levels have continuously risen, submerging numerous buildings. Local authorities have restricted pedestrian and vehicular access across bridges. Meanwhile, landslides in mountainous areas have damaged roads and caused traffic blockages. Typhoon YAGI made a landfall twice in China on September 6th, first in Hainan province and then in Guangdong province, resulting in 4 fatalities and 95 injuries. The estimated economic damage is close to $11.2 billion US. The Thai government has issued a warning to residents in 48 provinces about the potential for heavy rainfall in the coming days. Areas expected to be affected by flash floods include 13 provinces in the north, 13 provinces in the northeast, 8 provinces in the central area, including Bangkok, 6 provinces in the east, and 8 provinces in the south. The Thai Meteorological Department has forecasted heavy rain from Friday to Sunday with a risk of flash floods. This weather pattern is due to a northern monsoon trough moving across northern Thailand and an intensifying southwest monsoon, increasing rainfall. Previously, flooding and landslides caused by Typhoon YAGI resulted in the deaths of 7 people in northern Thailand. Hurricane Francine made landfall in Louisiana, southern United States on Wednesday. Local authorities have issued flood and storm surge warnings, which could pose a serious threat to residents' lives. Now, according to the National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Francine struck the southern edge of Louisiana with winds reaching 155 kilometers per hour. The storm is expected to raise sea levels by up to 3 meters and bringing rainfall of up to 304 millimeters in some areas. Local officials have advised residents to stay indoors and avoid windows. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry has declared a state of emergency and requested President Joe Biden to issue a federal emergency declaration for the area. The city of Jaisalmer in western India frequently experiences scorching heat during the summer. The Jaikumari Ratnavati Girls' School offers a refreshing escape from the heat, merging a centuries-old sandstone construction and natural cooling methods with contemporary solar technology.
In the sweltering heat of India's Thar Desert, where summer highs soar above 50 degrees Celsius, an architecturally striking school is an oasis of cool to a combination of age-old techniques and modern design. The Rajkumari Ratnavati Girls' School uses the same yellow sandstone as the 12th century fort in nearby Jaisalmer, dubbed the Golden City due to the color of the rock.
A unique feature of this building is its ability to stay cool during the summer due to its oval design, which allows for effective ventilation.
Inspired by Rome's Colosseum, the school has thick rubble walls that help bounce back the heat, while the interior is plastered with lime, a material that regulates humidity and aids natural cooling.
I love going to school. The air feels like it is coming from an air conditioner.
The roof is lined with solar panels, which provide all the school's power in an area with frequent electricity cuts.
Another notable aspect of the school is its environmental friendliness. It is powered by solar energy and also has rainwater harvesting systems in place.
The architect of the school highlighted that blending traditional elements with modern design and sustainable techniques is crucial for creating structures that can withstand harsh weather conditions.
Now, as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.